This is a WXII 12 first warning weather alert.
Good morning, everyone. We begin our 5 a.m. newscast with a time lapse of weather from Greensboro and Mount Airy. You can see as the time has gone on that wintry weather has moved in on the roads and on the sidewalks.
If you haven't gotten outside just yet, it may look like a winter wonderland. I want you to check out this doorbell camera video of snow overnight. This is on the south side of Winston-Salem, sent by Keith Shepard. You can see all that snow, sleet, and even freezing rain coming down there. And that's really the story all across the Piedmont Triad. Good Sunday morning. We want to thank you so much for spending your morning with us. I'm Wanya Reese alongside Kara Peters. We are starting our continuous coverage for you this morning. We're going to give you looks and visuals about everything that's not only going on here in the Triad, but also all throughout our great state. We have meteorologists Brian Slocum and Dylan Hudler here getting the latest on this forecast for us.
That's right, and we want to start off with you, Brian. Tell us where things stand at this hour.
Well, we're still seeing kind of a mixed bag of conditions over the area. Remember, the worst of the storm was always expected to be on Sunday. We've had periods of snow, at times sleet, even times some freezing rain and drizzle, and then it kind of reset and mixes. Most of the reports that we've seen of wintry weather in areas are not just one type, but two. And so the atmosphere is warming up upstairs, a couple of thousand feet up, and that's eventually going to bring us to a freezing rain threat. As far as the rest of the impact is concerned, I know a lot of folks are like, okay, I haven't seen flickers and power and all that stuff either. We're not done with this yet, not by any stretch.
No, this storm is far, far from over, Brian. And I think really the big three key take-home impacts from this will be roads, power, and then the cold, as you just heard Brian mention. Those are the big three things to keep in mind. Those are the things that will be most impactful for us. We'll take a look at the roads now with our road weather index map. The white colors and the pinks all indicate snow-covered and icy roads. You see, it's our entire area. Roads are bad out there, folks. I stepped out in the parking lot of our hotel this morning and nearly fell, just trying to see what the conditions were like out there. So needless to say, travel is discouraged. We want you to stay home today, stay off the roads, and ride this out. The few folks that are out and about, and you can see from those oranges and red colors on our maps, things are moving very, very slowly.
From Winston-Salem to Greensboro, even out to Mount Airy, our team is on top of the weather, showing you what happened last night and what's going on right now. And
we want to continue our coverage with Erin Burnett. She shows us how conditions are looking there.
We're on Rockford Road in Mount Airy, which is connected to the Andy Griffith Parkway. And as you can see, it's been a steady stream of ice and snow coming down, which is sticking to the roads here. It's the type of snow that it's kind of slushy. It's not the best to make a snowman with or sled, but it does make the road pretty slick, so definitely be careful. We did speak with emergency officials who tell us that it's been relatively quiet. Highway Patrol tells us that they've only seen 2 crashes so far since last night that have been ice-related with no injuries. Fire, police, and emergency management tell us that they've also had a pretty quiet overnight into morning. And when talking to people over the course of the last few days here about what their concerns have been, it's been mainly about power outages. Checking on those numbers as well, also been relatively quiet, and we have not seen any outages reported. Now, headed into today as the sun comes up, you keep it up, Mount Airy. Make sure to enjoy the snow, get out here on 2 feet, and stay off these roads. In Mount Airy, I'm Erin Burnett, WXII 12 News.
All right, Erin, thank you so much. Glad to know that things are relatively quiet there, and it comes as Surry County and Mount Airy have both declared a state of emergency. So continue to stay safe out there, Erin.
And now we're going to go to our Kelly Kendall. During our commute into work this morning, Carol, we saw how the roads were literally white. You could not even see the pavement on the ground. Yep. Kelly, can you tell us what you're seeing here?
This mix of precipitation continues to come down hard here in Winston-Salem. Walking on pathways, it's becoming quite slick as this all ices over. The same goes for the roadways. Now, this looks like a nice fluffy snow, but that really is not the case. You're seeing some of that snow, but you're also seeing ice, and that's creating very slick, very dangerous conditions. The advice from officials right now is just to avoid going out on the roadways for right now. The good news is you can see that some of these buildings, they all have power. We still have the lights on here in Winston-Salem, and we're monitoring more reports of power outages. But in this area near University Parkway, we've still got the lights on. So for now, stay home, and we'll continue to keep you updated on the accumulation as this has no signs of stopping. In Winston-Salem, I'm Kelly Kendall for WXII 12 News.
Some really good advice, Kelly. Definitely stay home if you need to. We are out there in the field and also holding things down in the studio so you don't have to go outside. We also want to get you out to the Gate City where they declared a state of emergency a little bit earlier on in the week in anticipation of the storm, Kara.
That's right, and that is where we find our Bethany Cates to show us conditions there.
Over the past couple of hours, we've definitely seen a heavier downpour of precipitation here in Guilford County. I'm camping out here at Westgate City Boulevard nearest I-40. And let me take you down to my boots for a second. If anything, I think we're seeing a little bit more snow. You can see my boots pressing down. And I also want to take you to this car over here. When we came out a little bit earlier, we were seeing a little bit more of that sleet and freezing rain. But at this point, we're seeing a heavier coating of that snow. I've been in touch with a few of the law enforcement officials here, and they're saying they're not seeing any power outages at this point, but they said they have seen a little bit more of those weather-related incidents in terms of those slick roads and icy conditions. And if anything, they're just still hoping that everyone just stays home at all costs. And I promise you, our team is your eyes and ears to the streets, and we'll keep you updated as soon as we hear any more information. In Greensboro, I'm Bethany Cates.
Thank you so much, Bethany. I want you to check this out. This is really cool. So a viewer sent us this photo on Facebook, and it's from Shalise Marie. She's a nurse here at a local hospital, and she just wants to thank our team for giving all the updates that the healthcare workers need. We are so appreciative of you, and we're thankful for your service, and we hope that you all are staying safe during this winter storm. The time on the clock is 5:15. If you're just now joining us, we are in continuous coverage right now as our winter storm continues to impact the Piedmont Triad. A live look now from our DOT cameras in Winston-Salem and Greensboro, and you can see white-out conditions pretty much on the road per se. I wouldn't say it's snowing or coming down that hard, but man, this is quite the sight to see.
That's right, Wanye. Definitely not a fluffy encounter. Definitely not a time to be building snowmans. It's a time to stay home and listen to the latest updates from our weather team. As you can see, roads have snow, ice covered across the Piedmont Triad. And it comes as Governor Josh Stein is telling residents not to travel during this storm unless absolutely necessary.
Kelly, tell me, how is it feeling out there, and what are you seeing, my friend?
Well, Wanye, as for the feeling, it is quite cold out here. These are not conditions you want to be in at all. Bundled up is really not even good enough in these conditions. But we've been focusing a lot on the sights. Of course, we are covered in this white blanket of snow, but I want to talk about the sounds a little bit. You can hear this precipitation. I'm wearing this waterproof coat from WXII, and I can hear this precipitation bouncing off of my hood here. Evidence that this is not the kind of fluffy snow that you want your kids to go out and play in, or for you to go out and play in. What's coming down is icy, and of course that's affecting the roadways. This is University Parkway that you're looking at here, and it is covered in this snow icy mix.
Look at road surfaces. I mean, bridges and overpasses are completely snow and ice covered in these locations. There are a few folks around. We recommend that you stay home. It is still very slippery out there, and this storm isn't even close to being finished as of yet. Some takeaways, some things that we're noticing. Look at the bottom of your screen. You can start to see freezing rain becoming the prominent precipitation type in places like Montgomery County. It's 19 degrees there, and temperatures are coming up. Siler City showing a temperature of 18. Durham is at 19 degrees. So we're starting to see a warm push of air that's going to bring a gradual changeover to the wintry mix that we've had and the crazy constant precipitation type changing that we have seen. We're going to start to see this over time become more freezing rain. It may be late morning or early afternoon before we start to see a changeover, but we are anticipating a changeover. It's also begun in the mountains. We're seeing some glazing occurring there. As that changeover occurs, that's when the ice is going to start to freeze and develop in the elevated surfaces, including trees and including power lines.
Good morning to you, Scott. Thank you so much for joining us here this morning. Just first off, tell us, what have you been seeing on the ground out there in Guilford County?
So things really ran very smoothly overnight. We really appreciate everybody kind of heeding the advisories to work hard to stay off the road. We actually had lower than average call volume over last night, but we're starting to kind of really see that creep up.
It's another WXII 12 first warning weather alert day. We have teams all throughout the Piedmont Triad. Want to start right now with Laney. Laney, I've been checking social media and messages and things of that nature. It's interesting to see what people are telling me. Sleeting hard in Winston-Salem, sleeting hard in Walnut Cove. Other places saying we're not seeing anything right now. And I heard from one lady who said lots of freezing rain in Charlotte. This goes right in line with what you were saying south of I-85. The story there is much more dire than what we're dealing with here.
Yeah, we're definitely watching this closely. We are still seeing frozen precipitation out there, and we're into round 2, and that is the last round of frozen precipitation we're anticipating with this storm. Additional sleet and freezing rain. That precipitation will lighten and end before midnight. This burst of heavy precipitation should start wrapping up, moving through over the next couple of hours in the west, and then by 8, 9 o'clock in the Piedmont Triad, it should be moving out of here. But that icy mix is going to have an impact. If you get more glaze, we're talking about more power outages, especially, or the risk, I should say, for that. A little farther to the south, down near I-85 south, Randolph, Davidson counties, you've already gotten a glaze. Most folks in the Triad North haven't seen a lot of glaze yet, but maybe a 1/4 of an inch. And of course, we've got Arctic cold air coming in behind this.
I also checked in with our emergency crews just to see what they're doing in the meantime, as we've had this lull in our precipitation. The road crews have definitely been out. Those snow plows have came through. Now, emergency services told me that people are taking this pretty serious, and that's the best part that they can do in all of this, right? They said they didn't respond to a single crash between the hours of 8 a.m. and 3 p.m. today.
But it is definitely sleeting, and that is a good thing from what Laney and Dave have been talking about. We want it to be more sleet than the freezing rain mess that we've been seeing. Now, as photojournalist Xander Acevedo and I were driving around Thomasville earlier in the day today, we noticed that the roads were covered with a snow-sleet mix, and it was crunchy on your feet. We did make our way around town, and we could see that there were some grocery stores that were open, and folks were coming in and picking up essentials that they may need.
The sleet has made it here, too. It is bouncing off of my hood and the car and the ground quite a bit. There's also some icicles forming underneath this car right here. I'm going to see if I can pull one off to show you. Well, I broke it, but it is quite big, and they are just pure clear ice, because that is what happens when you turn on your car and the condensation runs off of it. So now the car has again covered itself in ice with all this sleet bouncing off of it. There's just the tiniest little pellets, but we know that that sleet accumulates pretty heavy if it continues on at this rate. So that's why people are still encouraged to stay off the roads and stay out of the house. When it gets like this, it's not so fun, to be out here, because it almost hurts a little bit. They're kind of like BB gun pellets hitting your face and your body at this point. So remember that, roads get icy when this stuff sets in, and we really don't want people to be out on those roads. The city of High Point told us today that they did not have any major incidents happen overnight. They only responded to 3 car accidents that fell off the road, slid off the road in a couple areas, but there were no injuries reported.
Since this isn't over yet, Trooper Matcha, what advice for people out there who they start getting a little anxious and they might think it's safe to get out on the road when it isn't quite yet? What can you tell them?
Like I just said earlier, the ice is our biggest worry. Tomorrow being a Monday and people having to go to work. Some of our major roadways are scraped with DOT. It may look safe, but that black ice you can't avoid it, and you can't see it sometimes.
Over the next 12 hours, it's just wind, I think, that's going to really get your attention. So temperatures may barely get above freezing or close to it tomorrow. Feels like temperatures, though, are in the teens and 20s with a northwest wind at about 10 to 20 miles an hour, could be gusting higher.